morning, Nigeria. It's a brand new day and you're tuned into The Break Live on Dominion Television. I am Oluwayemi Adilaku.
And I am Samson Balogun. Happy Monday, everyone. It's the 30th of June, the very last day of the month. Can you believe July is just around the corner?
Honestly, it's gone by so fast. But as always, we're here to kick off your morning with the right energy, right stories, and the right conversations. Whether you're at home or on the road or already at work, thank you for making us part of your routine.
Okay, absolutely. And trust me, today's show is packed from local news in Ibadan to global headlines. We have got updates that matter to you. Plus, we are diving deep into one of the most talked about issues in Nigerian politics right now.
Yes, you guessed right. The APC internal crisis. There's been a lot of speculation, drama, and division. And today we have a very important guest joining us, Honorable Molaja Olaoye, a respected APC stalwart, who will be helping us unpack the dynamics.
Yes, it will give us an insider's perspective. Is it just political chess playing, or there is a real storm brewing in the ruling party? We'll get into all that in her big story segment right after newspaper headlines and analysis.
Speaking of newspapers, there's no shortage of headlines this morning, from political realignment to few price rumors to a few uplifting stories from the weekend. We'll be flipping through the front pages in just a moment.
And don't forget, we'll also bring you Trend Watch, zooming in on what's buzzing in Ibadan right now, this morning and around the globe. Everything from viral moments to tech, fashion, and lifestyle. You don't want to miss that.
Exactly. And Samson, can we talk about the weather for a second?
You know, it's well, a little bit cold this morning.
Really?
Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of chilly, but then that's out. It's giving the vibe of maybe just before the day runs out, there might be rainfall.
I really doubt that, because yesterday night was really hot.
Well,
honestly.
there's
I was looking for a pool.
Actually, there was a difference between last night and now.
Yeah.
It kind of changed overnight. Maybe we'll see some sort of. We have seen that happen lately.
Of course, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen.
All right. Okay, can we actually move on and talk about quite a number of things? I think you still have something to say about the weather.
Of course, perfect weather to shake off the weekend. No rain yet, but keep your umbrellas handy. We hear some part of the city might get light showers later in the day. That was what the early forecast is saying. So, as I said earlier, you might just witness a little bit of drops.
Okay, be rain ready, always prepared. And on that note, if you're watching us from anywhere across Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Jos, or here in Ibadan, let us know where you're watching from. You can drop your comment on our social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at Dominion Broadcast and X at DominionCast.
We love hearing from you, so tell us, what are your thoughts on the APC crisis? So do you think it's a case of family matters, or is the party truly at a crossroad? Use the hashtag #BigStory and join the conversation right here on Dominion Television. Don't forget, this is your channel of choice. Now let's talk about medical pilgrimage amongst politicians in Nigeria. It's a routine. It has happened over and over, and of course, so many Nigerians are beginning to frown at the fact that after you say you have actually maybe bought equipment for some hospitals, built new hospitals, you still get to travel abroad for medical pilgrimage. I mean, that should not happen, especially when lives of an average Nigerian depends on it. Why shouldn't your own life also depend on the medical facilities we have here in Nigeria?
And of course, we can actually cite a very good example. Recently, the former governor of Kogi State, Yabelo, has requested for the permission to actually travel out, for some, medical checkup.
After building such a big hospital in Kogi State.
In Kogi State. And a lot of persons are asking, is that not up to standard, or is it just about, the psyche of Nigerians? Is it just about the fact that, these hospitals that we have in Nigeria are actually inferior to the ones that we have over there? But I want to disagree with that, because I feel like we have the the best stands when it comes to doctors, nurses, and of course, so it's about the facilities. Are they actually okay, or is it that the politicians are aware of some of these things and then they would rather go abroad? I mean, to get
it's a thing of the mindset, if I may put it that way. Most Nigerian politicians would prefer to travel abroad for medical pilgrimage just because they think, the best of services lies abroad. But the only difference, or what I think, is that when they get abroad, they get to be attended to by Nigerian physicians. So
exactly.
it tells you that what you are looking for,
not getting it right.
There's a saying, you know, in Yoruba that says, so most importantly, all they have to know is that what they are running away from is what they are still going to get up there. So it's
that
a Nigerian
it's not just about the personnel.
It's not about the personnel.
Okay.
You know, the president said something lately that we should buy Nigeria and grow Naira. You understand? Buy Nigerian products, then you'll be able to grow Naira that way. So it's just about us believing in what we have. Nigerians do not believe in what they actually have, and then they get to travel abroad to actually pay more for what they could have gotten less here. Don't forget, some Nigerians now travel back to Nigeria for medical treatment because it is way expensive down there. But because most of these monies they use in traveling abroad for medical pilgrimage is not their personal funds. It's you know, sometimes looted funds. Maybe they are still in power, and of course they have access to, you know, the government funds, and then they can actually take that and travel.
And does the budget not even cover, you know, presidential visits to, I mean, hospitals abroad in terms of, you know, medical checkups and the like?
You know, as far as you are in you know, in a position of power, the corridor of power in Nigeria,
exactly.
Everything comes free. So this should not happen. You are being paid. So there are some things that should not come to you free because you are already getting, you know, a form of emolument, a salary or something, you know, wages, as you may call it, that comes to you as a political appointee, or maybe, you know, a political office holder duly elected. Now, if you now get all these things on a platter, there is a chance and tendency that you are going to, you know, overstretch and of course do too much. That's what we see here. Imagine a former governor like Governor Yaya Bello wants to travel abroad when he builds such an you know, such big hospital in Kogi State, but he feels his life is not safe in a facility he built, you know, for the people of Kogi State. So if he is doing that, what should be the fate of an average Nigerian on the street of Kogi State right now?
Well, not even Kogi State. What's the fate of a common Nigeria that cannot afford flight ticket or even travel abroad for all of these things? So I feel like until we're able to deconstruct our mind to the fact that, you know, we actually have good facilities. But I do not want to blame Nigerians who still travel, who are not even politicians. Maybe it's based on their experiences, because experience, you know, shape, you know, the opinions of people. Imagine, we've seen cases whereby, you know, some persons said they went to a particular hospital, they were not attended to on time. They had to leave, you know, from one hospital to the other.
To work by
exactly.
Some
so we really cannot blame some of these
people. It's just a few of them who actually do this, and of course the government should actually encourage, you know, Nigerian physicians to stay in Nigeria, because the best hands are leaving, though we are getting more good hands.
Nigerian politicians have been encouraging them to stay, but will they stay? I recall, I think the year 2022 now, thousands of doctors, nurses have left. Why? Because they got a better offer. Will they stay here and behold salaries? I mean,
well, I think it's a topic for another day. We'll talk about it. We'll bring medical experts, tell us why you are leaving the country, and of course we'll bring you know, government officials to also talk about their own part of the thing. And of course, that brings us to the end of this segment of the show this morning. We say very big thank you to everyone that has stayed with us so far. Now we head straight to our news desk, as we have highlights and of course updates for you on that desk this morning. We'll be back after this time out.
Please stay with us. Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. The presidency has described President Bola Tinubu's ongoing state visit to St. Lucia as a landmark diplomatic and cultural mission. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, stating that it is necessary to clarify the purpose of the visit. It said the visit is rekindling Nigeria's ancestral and strategic ties with the Caribbean nation and the wider CARICOM bloc. The federal government has inaugurated a committee to draft comprehensive guidelines for the implementation of Public-Private Partnership (PPP) project. The Minister of Education, Dr. Latuji Alausa, inaugurated the committee in Abuja. The committee, chaired by Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmad, is expected to submit its final report within 3 months. Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin has said that it will provide a startup capital of 100 million naira for graduates of vocational and skill acquisition in his constituency in Zaria. Abbas disclosed this while speaking at the graduation of students of the Zainab Ahmed ICT Vocational Center in Zaria as part of a second anniversary as Speaker. He also stated that the money will be used to start up all those who will pass through the center. Assistant on Media and Communications to the National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Yusuf Dinyadi, has officially resigned from his position. In a letter made available to newsmen and addressed to the PDP acting National Chairman, Ambassador Elia Damagun, Dinyadi expressed his gratitude to the party leadership for the opportunity to serve over the past 3 years, but did not state reasons for his resignation. Oyo State Governor Anthony Seyi Makinde has reinstalled the Iliruwa of Iliruwa, Oba Samuel Adigbola. In a speech, Makinde congratulated Oba Adigbola for overcoming over 22 years kinship tussle in Iliruwa land, noting that due process followed as delivered Iliruwa from monarchical vacancy for the past 6 years. In their separate remarks on behalf of the Iliruwa Township, the Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Honorable Adebo Ogundoye, Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Matters, Ademola Ojo and Ashiwaju Iliruwa Chief Olatunji Fadairu, appreciated the state government's timely response to the kinship tussle and appealed to the entire descendants of the town to cooperate with the new king for more unprecedented progress. The Kwara State government has commenced the arrest, prosecution and conviction of beggars and street urchins within Ilorin, the state capital, through a mobile court operating at the Ministry of Social Development headquarters. Leading the enforcement operation, the Commissioner for Social Development, Miriam Yusuf Imam, said the ministry's task force carried out a coordinated sweep of several key areas in the metropolis, including Post Office, Taiwo Road, Asadam Road, Gerin Alimi, and Tanke. Imam noted that the operation became necessary due to the increasing presence of street beggars and urchins, which poses a threat to public safety and law and order. Security operatives have rescued 13 abducted Benue Links passengers. Recall that the passengers were abducted at Eke in Opoku local government area of Benue State. It was gathered that they were rescued in a joint operation by the police and local vigilantes. President Bola Tinubu has ordered a temporary pause in the implementation of the controversial Financial Reporting Council Amendment Act 2023, which imposed new annual dues on large private companies classified as public interest entities. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, in a personally signed statement, said the disparity raised serious concerns about equity, sustainability, and the ease of doing business. The decision, according to the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, follows months of sustained pressure from the private sector and a technical review initiated by the ministry. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. That's the break news. I am Oluwayemi Adelakun saying thank you for watching and good morning. All right, I'll welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. It is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, and this is where we look at the major headlines across the dailies. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. This morning, allow me start from the Guardian newspaper, and of course, I have this major headline that says, "Old rivalries hobble PDP's Liveline neck meeting." A very interesting stories. Looking at the fact that we talked about this over the weekend, you know, the faction, a particular faction, is saying the neck meeting should not hold. However, we have the other faction that comprise of the BOT, the NWC. They are saying the neck meeting will go as planned. Also, we are actually not, you know, we are not sure of what's going to happen today. Will the neck meeting hold today, June 30th, 2025, or will it be postponed? You know, just as the acting national chairman has said, Elia Damagun. Our hands, you know, are crossed, and then we are waiting to see what is going to happen within the PDP. This crisis has dragged on for too long. What is really going on with PDP? This internal crisis is a lot to handle. You know, recently, Bukola Saraki, you know, one of the major stakeholders in the party, said he's happy that all of this crisis is actually happening in 2025 and not late 2026. According to him, this will help them regroup and also, you know, strategize on how, you know, to be a better opposition party come 2027. However, is he really right? You know, we are going to talk about this morning, and of course, you know, we have other things to talk about. Moving on to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, I have this headline that says NEC meeting will go as scheduled. That's coming from PDP. That headline asked this writer, BOT meets ahead plan NEC Wabara rally stakeholders. I've just explained that just now, that a lot is going on. Some persons are saying the NEC meeting should not hold, while others are saying the NEC meeting should hold. I feel there are a lot of factions, right now in the PDP, and that's the major reason why we are going through, or PDP is going through all of these at the moment. However, we hope they can put their house in order, before 2027. Moving on to another headline, I have this one that says Colonel Umar lists Sultan Oyinlola, 37 other military officers as members of June 12 movement. That headline asks this writer, says accept CFR national honor, wants Tinubu of sycophant. It appears that the June 12 story is going to drag on for long. It was celebrated just about some days ago, but however, ever since then we have seen recent talks about it. Some persons are coming out to say this person was not part of the movement, that person was not part of the movement. Are we going to have an end to this discussion? Remember that June 12, what happened back then has happened a long time ago, but we are seeing more revelations concerning this June 12. However, our hands are crossed, and then we look forward to what will be reviewed in the next couple of days or months, as the case may be. Moving on to Blueprint newspaper, I have this headline that says NDLEA bursts Turkey Nigeria drug ring, ex-footballer, 4 others nabbed. I also have this one that says Tinubu sent Lucia's trip strategic, not a vacation. That's coming from the presidency. I read this story over the weekend, and the former presidential candidate of Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, came out to criticize this visit to St. Lucia and, of course, Brazil. And then he came out to say that this is not the time for holidaying or vacationing. According to him, Nigerians are still grappling with hunger, with poverty and insecurity. He also made mention of the president's visit to Makurdi, Benue State, to actually, appeal to the people and then assure them that the security apparatus will do better in the coming days and months. Mr. Peter Obi said that the president should make more visits to places like that, and not just in Benue State, in Kano, in Kaduna, to assure the people that things will get better, and not in visiting St. Lucia or Brazil or any other place in the country. However, the presidency came out to debunk this, to say that the president's visit to St. Lucia is not on a vacation basis. It is strictly official. And then when I read the story over the weekend, I read that, there's a history between Nigeria and St. Lucia. And according to that story, a doctor, a St. Lucian doctor, was actually instrumental in treating Nigerians during the Civil War. I'm talking about 67 to 70. And of course, apart from that, there are other interesting stories to read about these ties, or let me say, this relationship that Nigeria has with St. Lucia. However, I read some, comment online, and Nigerians have a lot to say. And somebody tweeted, I'm not going to say that word for word, and I'm just going to paraphrase. The person said, what does St. Lucia have to offer to Nigeria, looking at the population of that, of that place. But then, does it really have to do with the population? Can it go beyond that? Can we see beyond the population of that place? Can we allow the president to actually do what he wants to do there? Or this is not the time for that kind of visit? Of course, we're going to be talking about this in depth, this morning. Moving on to another headline on the Blueprint, I have this one that says PDP crisis, I stand with Southeast NWC BOT on NEC. National scribe. That's coming from Mba. We've talked about this. Honestly, it's really a serious thing going on in the People's Democratic Party. And somebody asked recently, and the person said, with what is going on in the PDP, do they even have a presidential candidate? Will they be able to come up with a presidential candidate come 2027? And should they come up with someone, are they going to agree on this? Because if they cannot agree on who should stay in terms of the national secretary, if they cannot agree on let's have this NEC meeting, can they agree on the presidential candidate. Should they come up with one come 2027? Of course, we look forward to that, and then we hope they can actually do better in terms of this crisis. However, this is not the first time that PDP will be plunged into a very deep crisis such as this. Recall that in 2013, a host of stakeholders in PDP walked out of the convention room, and then that led to serious issues. Some persons defected from PDP to APC. However, we've seen some of these people come back to PDP, and then you wonder, because recently most of the top executives in PDP are saying that defections will still happen. A lot of persons will still leave PDP, while some will still come back, as we progress. However, we are going to talk about that this morning. Let's move on to the New Telegraph. I have this headline that says, PDP crisis intractable as confusion mars scheduled NEC meeting. And that headline asks this writer, says Governor Mba Southeast reserves right to review future with PDP. Another writer says we need dedicated members to rebuild PDP ahead 2027. That's coming from Buddy George. Also, I think we've talked about this enough. We might just, talk about it more when I have, my analyst with me. Let's move on to this, another headline that says security forces rescue 13 abducted Benue Link passengers. And that headline asks this writer, it says victory over terrorists, orders certain. Security vote, Serap threatens legal action against governors. Security forces rescue 13 abducted Benue Link passengers. I think that's a good development. If we can keep up with this, I think we might just, have a solution to these, recurring activities of these bandits and terrorists in Benue State, and not just in Benue State, across Nigeria as a whole. Moving on, I have another headline that says lawyers seek legal constitutional reforms to end rights abuse as concerns mount over upsurge. Of course, they're talking about, some of the abuse that people go through in terms of being denied about their rights, even as a citizen. Okay, we hope they come up with something interesting that can actually reduce, this rights abuse amongst ourselves. Moving on to Daily Trust newspaper, I have this headline that says, Ganduje's exit, CPC block North Central push for APC chairmanship. A very interesting headline. Over the weekend, I read the story that, the chairman, the national chairman of the APC resigned over the weekend, and it's quite shocking because if you ask me, I never expected that. However, he has said he's resigning because of his health. He needs to take, absolute care of his health. However, the governors had the meeting over the weekend as well, and then they said this resignation is connected to the fact that, APC is going through a kind of revolution. They are trying to reform a lot of things. However, what is the connection between health issue and evolution and reforms? We are going to look at that this morning. This resignation, can it be connected to the outburst of the opera that happened in Gombe? Talking about why some stakeholders in APC endorse, Tinubu without mentioning the name of Shatima at all. Can it be connected to that? Is it about internal pressure or strictly based on health reasons? We're going to unpack that this morning. And of course, talking about the North Central pushing for the APC chairmanship. Ever since Ganduje resigned, quite a lot of number of politicians, stakeholders in the APC, have come out to say that this is where it should go to. That is the next person that should come up as the next national chairman. And of course, the North Central persons, people, if you like, are coming out to say that, it should be zoned to them, looking at, to actually fulfill all righteousness, permit me to use that word, for the sake of equity, it should move to the North Central, region. However, is that going to happen? And of course, our hands are crossed. We are waiting who is going to come up as the next, national chairman of the APC. Recall that, Ganduje is one of the best, national chairman of the APC, according, to the stakeholders in that party. And of course, let's move on to another headline on Daily Trust. I have this one that says, how Naira depreciation pushed Nigeria's debt to 149 trillion naira, 149.39 trillion naira. That's a lot. We borrow a lot. However, a lot of persons are asking, our borrowing, is it in correlation with, our spending. What are we actually using this money for? And I recall just last week, Adams Oshomole, said something very interesting. He said, the Naira is actually going through a lot of crisis because of the excessive printing of Naira, during the Buhari regime. And of course, a lot of persons have come out to say that, he was actually, part of those that actually applauded, that regime, that administration. So why is he coming out to say that the Naira has been affected, by the excessive printing of that period? And they said, our Naira depreciation pushed Nigeria's debt to 149.39 trillion Naira. If we are not going to lie, we can all attest to the fact that Naira is going through a lot. I recall that in the space of just about 2 years, the way dollar went up against the Naira is, I don't know how to explain it, is really not, is untrue to a lot of persons. A lot of persons can still not believe that we are at this point, because I recall Naira was about 600 plus, 700 plus. All of a sudden it moved to 1,000, and currently we are dragging between 1,580, 1,600, depending on where you're buying from. All right, moving on to another headline. I have this one that says Dantata for burial in Saudi Arabia. Today, over the weekend, this elder statesman, died, and of course, a lot of persons, they have quite a number of good things to say about this elder statesman, Dantata, the uncle of Dangote, and of course, people, came out to, show concern for the family with condolence messages and the likes. Moving on to another line on Daily Trust newspaper, I have this one that says PDP NEC meeting holds today. NWC members insist, and that headline asks this rider, no, it's expanded caucus session, Damagum's group. Just like I said, according to Damagum, the meeting should be postponed, but according to the BOT and NWC, the meeting stands. Answer crossed, and we look forward to how it's going to play out today. Also, I have another headline on Daily Trust that says 2027 showing psychopath Dangiwa tells Tinubu. I spoke about that, the other time. All right, this is how far we can go on the headlines, and of course, we take a short break. When we come back, we are going to talk more on some of these major headlines, that we have across the days. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. right, I'll welcome you back. It is to the headline segment, and of course, we are going to be talking about some of the major headlines across the dailies. I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me Samson Balogun. Welcome on board.
Yeah, good to be here to talk, the updates on the dailies this morning.
Of course. So let's take it from Nigerian Tribune. I have this headline that says NEC meeting will go as scheduled. That's coming from PDP. BOT meets ahead planned NEC meeting. Wabara rally stakeholders. So we have two factions here, trying to slug it out amongst themselves. The national chairman, the acting national chairman, is saying that the meeting should be postponed. However, the BOT, the Board of Trustees, the NWC are saying the meeting will hold. So do you see this meeting holding? And should it hold? Will it put an end to all of this crisis that PDP is going through?
You see, I'm of the opinion that whether there's a meeting or there's no meeting, it's going to end in a deadlock. Really? Because, some of the demands made by these warring factions have not been met, and it is not even certain that if there's a meeting, such demands will be met, because they are tall orders. There are things that probably and most likely, it's not going to sit well with most people who are going to be on seat. Take for example, don't forget people like Nyesom Wike, they are still in the mix. There are so many people who are actually, they have a lot at stake right now. And I feel like at this point, all that matters is individual consultations, one-on-one consultations, and see if they can actually find a way to make sure that what each and every one of them wants is, even if not met, they are going to meet halfway. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Say that you make sacrifices, I make sacrifices, and then we see how we can actually meet for the betterment of the party and, of course, for the future of the political party before things actually get beyond, repair, and, of course, the party is going to crash, because as it stands right now, it's more or less like an aeroplane that's flying with just an engine. So it shows that if that engine actually stops working, there's no alternative. So the plane is eventually going to crash land. So it's a major problem within the political party. But all that matters right now is the fact that before a general meeting, that will actually end up in another crisis. There should be consultations among, these political gladiators who have a lot at stake, especially with the trajectory of how things are going in the Nigerian polity, and of course, considering the 2027 general election, which is around the corner. Everyone, they are not doing this for the people of Nigeria. They are doing it for the fact that everyone has a vested interest in what happens in the party and, of course, what happens in Nigeria politically. So if it gets to this stage, for the sake of the Nigerian people, there has to be individual consultations and, of course, meet halfway. Let the political party be a strong political party that can actually vie, for the presidency seat come 2027. Otherwise, there is still going to be a crisis. Whichever meeting that is done now without underground consultations is going to end in another crisis. Do
you even think the PDP currently has a presidential candidate? Because looking at the caliber of people that have left, and then, it is not just about, you coming out as the flag bearer of the party. You must have some, some connections. You must be popular to an extent. So do you think they have someone that can actually come up as a presidential candidate?
In politics, regardless of, let me cite an instance. When Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State actually won the election, when he came into power, it wasn't like it was the most popular candidate at the time, because we had so many people who were contesting, and of course they were big names but the fact that he won shows that regardless of how popular you are, and of course regardless of how much you have to spend, you still stand a chance of winning if your political party actually gets it right in convincing the people that this is the right candidate to lead the country to the promised land. Now, considering the current situation of the PDP, yes, all the majority of the big names that people would consider to actually stand a chance of defeating the current president of the Federal Republic, they have actually left the party. Okay. Say for Atiku Abubakar, who is, one way or the other, is I don't think he is too vested in, or actually
he's so concerned about the coalition right now.
Yes, yeah. So he's too concerned about forming a new political party than being in the PDP. That is one. Peter Obi is not a member of the PDP. So there are so many names you would mention that at the point you would say, oh, they stand a chance of actually, slugging it out against current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But then, most of them are either gone or they have been somehow boxed to a corner within the party. So it tells you that right now the PDP really do not have, who you would point to as a candidate that stands a chance. But then politics is not done on how popular you are. You can be as popular as whatever it is you want to call it and still not win an election. Because it's beyond I am popular. It's beyond I have money to spend. What really matters is getting the permutations and combinations right. How about you being popular in the Southwest and nobody knows you in the North? Not like they don't know you, but they don't know you enough to trust you with their votes. And how about being popular in the North? And of course, in the South and Southeast, nobody cares about who.
That's why you have party members.
That's why you have party members. But will your party members, your foot soldiers in those places, be able to convince the people in those states that you are the right candidate?
That's their choice.
And of course, don't forget when the INEC procedure says you have to win a certain percentage of votes in some states, and of course there is a calculation that says this is the number of votes you have to get from one place or the other before you can be declared president, even if you have the total number of votes. Now, with the current situation, they need a candidate, a figure that can actually say, oh, in let's say for example in the South, Southeast, Southwest, and the North Central, Northwest, whichever part of you have a stronghold, at least in about 50 to 60% of these places. Then the rest of the other states, you can actually garner the required 25% of votes in those places and say, okay, you have actually won. But right now, I don't see that happening in the PDP. I do not see that figure that can actually come out and say, I can do it. People have been pushing so many people. There are names, there are posters that we've seen. In fact, at the point, the governor of Oyo State, or Governor Seyi Makinde, was pushed to be the candidate. But hey, it's beyond me playing politics in Oyo State, because this is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Yes, you can be popular in Oyo State. In fact, you can be popular in the Southwest. But how is your strength in the South-South? How is your strength in the Southeast?
But you said that
how is it in the North?
If you can get the permutations right, if you know how to work around it, and it's not just about you not being popular. If you have people who can support you across board, who knows? Maybe you might just emerge.
It's yes, you are right with that. But let's put some other things into consideration. When they talk about it requires a certain amount of, before you can actually say I want to be president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, if you are going to toe the line of the most popular political parties, you have to have a certain amount of money, billions of naira in your account, sitting in your bank account, that that you can spend and you will not regret that you have actually spent that money if you lose the election. So does the governor of Oyo State have such? He's a businessman. Does he have such money to throw away? I don't think so.
We might not be able to speak for him.
The point is, I'm not saying he does not have the money.
Okay, but is he willing to
as
spend?
A businessman,
okay,
will he be willing to spend that kind of money and say, oh, I've actually lost the money and I don't care? When they talk about betting, they tell you, oh, you can actually, it is only wise for you to stake when you know that it's your free money. It's an amount of money that you know that you will not regret.
It's not going to affect
you have no regret over it. But then politics is more like staking, because that there's a chance this money. We have seen people sell their family properties, venture into politics, and they've gained nothing in return, and they have actually gone back to their personal businesses and then left politics for good.
There's a saying that says,
how many of them do we have?
But you are actually politics you fail sometimes to win.
Politics is too expensive in Nigeria. It should not be like that originally. Because why do we have expensive politics in a country like Nigeria? Poverty has been weaponized. It's a weapon by the rich, and of course the rich political gladiators, to actually enslave the Nigerian people, that when the election comes, regardless of how badly they performed in the last 4 years, you are always willing to vote for them again, provided they bring some money to you, bring you food stuff, and then you are okay. All
right, away from PDP, let's talk about the resignation of Ganduje over the weekend. Because I don't know, did you expect that? Because to me, it was quite shocking, looking at how that man has actually worked with APC over the time, and then a lot of speculations about this resignation. The man came out to say that he has resigned due to health issues. However, the governors, they had a meeting over the weekend, and then they said, his resignation is connected to the revolution or the evolution that the party is, going through at the moment, and of course to put some things in places. Can you find a correlation between these two, evolution, health issues? Do you think it's connected to the uproar that happened in Gombe State about some days ago? Can you link it to internal pressure, or you have, counter opinions?
There are so many things that could have actually, led to the fact that Ganduje chose to resign. But then the list of them, for me, is the health, challenge he claimed he has.
You don't buy that?
I do not buy that. Because I've always expected that Ganduje would actually either be asked to leave the position of the chairman of the APC, or maybe at a point he would actually leave on his own volition. But then eventually, maybe or maybe not, he left on his own volition. We do not know that yet until, someone comes out and boldly says, oh, we told him to leave.
Revelations will definitely come.
Of course, it will come. And when you look at the current situation, don't forget, over time, we have had issues with, they have had issues in the party regarding who is going to, deputize the president come 2027. And there are insinuations that the president do not want to run with Kashim Shettima. And when you look at the current framework of the APC, the last framework of the APC before Ganduje resigned, of course, Ganduje was from Kano, which means that Kano will not be able to present, the vice presidential candidate.
The North Central people are actually, clamoring for that position.
Yeah, of course, they also stand a chance, but don't forget they have the SGF right now, which is George Akume. So it says that at one point or the other, that slot has been blocked.
Speaking on that, yesterday, I think the presidency came out to debunk the fact that some persons are assuming that George Akume has stepped down from his position.
No, you see, a lot of speculations will come, especially when the election is around the corner. Okay. And I don't think it's even time for him to actually leave his position as, SGF, because there is a lot, they still have the time. Of course, the politicking has not really started, but of course, the permutation has, the people are already thinking, oh, to what direction is the president going to look at? But when you look at the current situation now, the acting chairman of the APC is from Borno State. And of course, that is the state where the current vice president is from. Meaning that one of them will have to leave the position they are currently occupying. Will the current acting chairman be willing to leave that position? Will he say, oh, I don't want to vie to be the permanent chairman, so automatically I'm leaving this position so Kashim Shettima can continue to run with the president? One. Two, will he say, well, regardless of the situation, let's find the vice president from another part of the country, and then I remain as the chairman of the party? I actually thought that Ganduje would be around to midwife the primaries of the APC, though I know, and I have always known, that he was going to be booted out of that position. But
he's not left the party
yet. As it stands, don't forget, regardless of what Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso says on television or on radio, he still remains an ally of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He remains a friend. So, and if Kwankwaso is going to, for any reason, going to come to the APC, he will not come to an APC where Ganduje is the chairman of the party or the leader. No.
I think I heard a story that talks about the fact that they actually have some issues going on. Maybe that's the reason why.
They are friends. They were friends. Even before now, they were childhood friends. Kwankwaso was governor for 8 years, left, and of course Ganduje came on board. So it tells you they have been friends. But at the point when Ganduje was governor,
they had issues.
They had issues, and of course they went their separate ways. But the permutation says, if Kwankwaso is ever going to work with the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for any reason, he will not come to a political party where Ganduje is the leader, because that will be an insult to Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. So it tells you that that is also another reason why Ganduje left his position as the chairman of the party.
Not confirmed.
Do not confirm. That is another reason. Yes. So it tells you I told you there are so many reasons. Okay. And don't forget, he also had his fair share of corruption cases. Even when he was governor, when he became chairman of the political party, he has had issues with the EFCC, and of course there have been rumors that he is corrupt. Now, in the FCT, there is meant to be an election into the FCTA. local councils.
Okay.
And of course, there are rumors, of course it's in the news, that he took bribe from some of the potential candidates. So that's another reason that maybe that's another reason why he has been told, look, with all this going on, you just have to step aside.
Okay, before we talk about Peter Obi now, let's talk about Kwankwaso, since you mentioned him. I think I read a story that talks about the fact that some NNPP members are saying that, Kwankwaso is actually trying to betray them if he eventually moves to the APC. However, they wish him well. Do you see him moving? Because looking at the fact that, this person, he has his own intentions, he has his own ideas, but you have said he's an ally of the president, do you think he's more than being an ally of the president, moving to the APC? He has goals, that he has laid down in the NNPP. However, they are setting him free, regardless of the fact that they feel betrayed that he is leaving to the APC.
You see, the point is, there's no politician that has no goal. They all have a point. So if you see them moving from one political party to another, it's not because of the people, it's because of what they stand to gain. So now, if he leaves the NNPP, collapses structure, then moves to the APC, that is because he has been promised one thing or the other, which might just be, potentially be the vice presidential slot in the APC. Now, don't forget that in his own territory, he also rules. He's locked it out with the APC and won. His anointed candidate actually is the current governor of his state. So it tells you how strong he is in his own base. So all that being said, you asked if he has goals and intentions. Yes, every politician does that. And I think that is exactly why he would like to move to the APC. There's an opening. Because politicians try to study the situation of things. They want to see if there's a lacuna to actually plug into. And I think there's a perfect one in the APC for Rabi Musa Kwankwaso to actually plug into as we speak. So, regardless of what everyone would say in the political party, NNPP, how he betrayed us, see, Nigerian people, especially in the political arena, you cannot migrate from one political party to the other with every member, every card-carrying member of your political party. Some of them will still say they are not going with you.
Of regardless of what your name is.
So, regardless of what your name is, some of them will tell you they are not going with you.
I mean, the ball is in his court.
The political party.
Is the one to choose whether he's going to move to the APC or not.
That's the point. So, if he wants to collapse the structure into the APC in his home state, well, I think that would be a welcome development. Don't forget, he won't be the first person to do it. Because in Nigeria, even in Delta State, it happened. The whole structure was collapsed. The sitting governor, the former governor, every one of them, including some commissioners, most commissioners actually, left the political party and, of course, collapsed their structure into the APC. Now, even as we speak in Delta, some of them who are in the political party said they are not leaving. Say that they want to remain in the PDP. So it tells you that if some of them they are just, I would say they are minority members of the NNPP who didn't want to leave. But every political party wants to align with the center. They want to be working hand in hand with the center because that way they feel that dividends of democracy will come, will trickle down to the people. And of course, whether it gets to the people or not now depends on who's the governor and, of course, who is now.
And this activity, weakens the opposition party by the day. However, it's the choice of, Mr. Rabi Kwankwaso, whether he's going to move to the APC or not. Before we say our BYE on the segment, let's talk about, Peter Obi briefly, because recently the president of the country, traveled, to St. Lucia, and of course is going to stop at Brazil as well. However, Mr. Peter Obi has come out to say that this is not a time for holidaying or vacationing, going by the fact that Nigerians are grappling with poverty, hunger and insecurity. He also made mention of the president's visit to Benue State, which is called a political jamboree. It doesn't look to him as him going there to actually commiserate with the people and things like that. What do you make of this? Because the presidency came out to debunk this just yesterday that that visit is strictly official, and then they mentioned the fact that Nigeria actually has a history with St. Lucia, looking at the fact that one of the doctors around 67 to 70, the civil war was actually instrumental into treating a lot of Nigerians, and apart from that, quite a number of relationships have actually transpired between these two parties. What do you make of this statement from from Mr. Peter Obi. Do you think he's going overboard? I mean, talking about the fact that the president cannot actually visit, this place, in this time.
Well, I consider that a statement from, someone who lost an election and someone who would always wish is in the position of the president. I don't think there is a time the president cannot travel. I don't think there's a time he cannot go on official assignments, and of course he decides when to rest, just like you would do when you say, oh, today I want to take a nap, I want to rest. So he's just as human as every one of us in this room. So that being said, playing politics with everything will not solve any problem in Nigeria, will not lead Nigeria to anywhere. I want to go back to the issue of Benue State, when the president visited Benue State. So what he is saying is that it is the president's fault that the governor of Benue State decided to make it a party instead of a place of sober reflection. It's not the president. He did not. Did he ask for any of that? No. He said he was coming to visit Benue State. To the governor? He is the governor. The governor came out openly and said, if you come out in your colorful attires, for me, that is the most reckless statement you will get from a sitting governor when people have been killed and, of course,
trying to welcome the president.
That is, for me, I'll call that, it's total disregard for humanity. Because it should not happen. It's an aberration. People have been killed in your state. People are crying of hunger. Farmlands have been destroyed. Properties are being destroyed. And all you have to say is that the president is coming tomorrow, come out in your colorful attires. So is that a statement from the president? No. Is that a statement from the presidency?
You don't see that as a sign of respect?
No. That is not a sign of respect. That's the total disregard for human lives. So that is not the fault of the president. If he had come and he was hosted in the government house instead of visiting a hall where that was done, I think the president would still have actually been there and, of course, would have done what he came to do and left. But the governor decided to. In fact, if you listen to happenings in the video, if you watched it live, you will realize the fact even the MC was talking about food like nothing happened. Oh, don't go hungry. There is food everywhere.
The venue speaks a lot as well.
I mean, that for me, someone should have actually cautioned him that you are being reckless with these statements you are making. He was talking about food when human lives was being discussed. I mean, it's not the problem of the president. The president did not ask for any of that. But people do more of eye service in Nigeria.
Going back to your assertion, do you still think the comment from Mr. Peter Obi is based on this man lost election?
It's strictly political.
But you have just said that what the governor of Benue State did is a total aberration.
It should not happen, actually. It should not happen. And of course, when you look at the current situation, I think we have totally lost our sense of humanity in Nigeria. People no longer have. It's becoming a problem. Even an average Nigerian would walk past a dead body on the street and would not even care about it. They will prefer to record videos than actually, making the necessary calls for, things to be done the right way. Now, that is happening in the political class too. So, instead of playing politics with everything, see, you can be an opposition and always prefer solutions, not create more problems. So, if you are inciting the people saying the president did this and did that, you should also learn to enlighten the people that what the president has done is not the president's fault. He said he was coming to Benue. He never said he was coming to a political campaign. He never said he was coming to a musical jamboree. He never said that people should come and wait for him on the road. He never said that people should stay in the rain. He never asked for school children to actually be in the rain just because they were waiting for him. If no one was on that street, he would have actually gone to the government house. He would have done what he came to do, and he would have gone back to Abuja.
What about the body language of the president and some of the things he said? I mean, whilst he was there.
You see, the body language of the president, while he was in that meeting, he asked a critical question that nobody answered. He asked the IGP, Kayode Egbetokun, that, look, why is it that you have not arrested one person? And you said you are the IGP. You have not made a single arrest. That tells you that, see, some of these things is beyond just one human being who is the president. He makes decisions, but when he makes decisions, some people are saddled with the responsibilities of carrying out these commands. So if they are not doing the job, one thing I feel the president has done that is totally wrong right now is the fact that if a person is failing in his corner of power where you have actually placed him, then replace the person. Put the right peg in the right hole. So you don't keeping people who, just because they probably contributed to how you won the election, you discharge them. If they are not performing, you let them go. But they are too worried with the 2027 election that, okay, so we still need them, let's keep them close. You will see some shake-ups that will come after the 2027. If he eventually wins the 2027 election, you will see shake-ups. Some people will not make it into that cabinet.
All right, thank you, Samson, for being a part of this segment.
However,
2027 is still far.
Very far.
We really cannot tell what is going to happen, what will even happen today. So the conversation continues. Thank you for being a part of the segment. Big story is coming up soon, and Samson Balogun is waiting. My name is Oluwayemi Adelaku. I'm saying good morning once again.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. You are watching The Big Story, where we unpack the headlines and dig deep into the issues that shape our nation. Today we zoom in on the ruling All Progressives Congress, a party that once stood as a united front, but now finds itself grappling with intense internal battles, fractured alliances, and regional power blocks. The title for today's Big Story, of course, the power struggle in the APC. And of course, is APC the house of cards? To help us navigate this shifting sands of political loyalty, ambition, and strategy within the APC. In the studio, we are joined by no one less than Afolabi, who is a seasoned analyst. And of course, shortly, Honorable Mola Jaolawi will join us also in the studio. He brings a first-hand insight from the heart of the party machinery. This is one conversation you don't want to miss. Samson Balogun is my name. All right, the APC, Nigeria's dominant political force in the last decade, is facing its most turbulent season yet, from Abuja to the grassroots, with cracks appearing across state chapters, conflicting interests clashing behind closed doors, and succession battles looming large. The party's internal dynamics may well determine the future of Nigeria's democracy. But what really lies beneath these power tussles? Who is calling the shots? And who is losing grip of the political party? Is this just normal party politics? Or are we witnessing the beginning of a political implosion? With Afolabi Afolami and, of course, Honorable Omolaje Olaoye, who will join us shortly in the studio today, we'll be scratching beyond the surface to understand what's fueling the APC's internal unrest and what it means for governance stability and the next election cycle. Welcome to the big story on Daybreak Live this morning. All right, I have with me in the studio Afolabi Afolami. Of course, with him, we'll be doing, justice to what is going on in the APC. There has been a lot of shake-ups in the APC. Good to have you in the studio, Afolabi Afolami.
Good morning and happy to be here again.
Before we delve into the heart of the issue this morning, we'll go on a short break. And when we return, Daybreak Live continues. And of course, the big story comes back. We'll be back after this time out. All right, welcome back from that short break. As I said earlier, Honorable Omolaje Olaoye will be joining us in the studio this morning. So with him and Afolabi Afolami will be doing justice to happenings within the APC. So let me come to you, Afolabi Afolami. Let's begin with the obvious. Now, as we speak, is the APC still united in vision and ideology, or are we now dealing with factions under one name?
Well, as it is right now, everybody expects what is going on right now, because when the government came into power, it make a pronouncement of unity within the party. It talks about the vision of the entire member of the party. But as things goes on, where you see power tussle, where people wants to be somewhere and they are unable to get there, and some people wants to feel in they want to hold on to the grip and unable to stand firm with it for so long, because some people have taken over. You start seeing fraction, you start seeing tussles, you start seeing people who wants to dominate. Politicians and politics is such that they want to hold on to power, dominate for as long as they could, and also dictate the tune where they belong. But when that does not happen, we've seen fracas, we've seen so much of disarray within the party, and I think that is what is going on right now. If the party we hold till the next election this is the time that will determine.
Honorable Molaji Olaoye, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here. Yes. You are of the APC. You are a card-carrying member of the APC. What is going on in your political party?
It's well expected because right from time when we have our Congress, sometimes ago, that was 2022, the Senator Abdullahi is supposed not to be there because every point really favor Al-Makura, the former governor of Nanasa State.
Right.
But the power that be prefer Abdullah to be there. So he was there after when he guided us to the presidential election and we won. And both of them don't like, I mean, normally when you can manage your problem. The problem you have in APC now is about graduate living. It is not particularly about that the slot belonged to North Central. And it wasn't from North Central. You must know that. So definitely, he was just holding the office temporarily.
Well, North Central eventually got compensated by the president.
No. Apart from what you have to know that the SSG position, it is not about, it is the pen, it is the prerogative of the president
to decide
or the governor. You know, it has happened in your state before when you have somebody of SSG from the Ibadan North and the governor is from the Ibadan North during the time of Ladoja. And a lot of Fulabula was there. And he said he can only nominate somebody that is loyal. So what is really happening now is about rearrangement of how things must be. Mind you, the coalition is there as well. And there are some, you can see what happened. The meeting that was held of Northwest meeting that was held recently, that they are saying that the VP must come to them because they are the one that has the higher vote in the North. So you expect that there is going to be demand, there is going to be reshuffling, there is going to be a rearrangement. So I think that is what is going on right now.
Now, the former chairman of the APC stepped aside. A candidate, the current vice president, from Borno State, is now the chairman of the APC. Now, it tells you there is a lot going on there. There's a chain of changes that is yet to come. Yes. That might come even before the election.
Even after now.
Even now. Now, do you see a chance that there might be an implosion from within in the APC?
Sure, it's going to be, because some people are already clamoring for the removal of the vice president, not to contest with the president for 2027. And they are also asking that it should come to their end. And they are also saying that some people also make a presentation that they've not from their end, especially the Northern Christians, said they've not been president, neither has they been vice president in the circle of rotation of presidency in Nigeria. And that is also making some kind of meaning. You know, the party, yes, is going to face what other parties have faced when they are in power. And I think this is the time to know whose party is strong. You know, when they were in the opposition, they play a very good role. They were there to checkmate. They have the good voice. And at this time, if it has been in the APC as the opposition, I know how many press releases will have been rolling out. I know how much they will have visited the media to talk about the instability of the present government, talking about the inability to hold back their house and keep it firm, talking about how the disunity is not good for a kind of country Nigeria is dreaming of, and how we should not allow such kind of government to continue to rule us. So I foresee a lot coming out after now. We've seen it before, that Oshiomhole came in, and after which he was sent back. You know, it always has to do with the power that be. Everybody wants to have their hands on deck and hold their power and secure their home. So this is what APC is facing.
Okay, now Honorable Molaji Olaoye, you have something to say about that.
I think I disagree with you on that, because when APC or ACN, whatever, was opposition, they are very mindful of their whatever criticism they are going to do. We have seen a president that hold gun to the chairman of the party. We have seen the president that changed the party chairman more than 3 times. You see, and which is wrong. Now we got to know what constitution say, how people can be removed and what need to be done. We've seen opposition party that cannot even try to have their NEC meeting. That should be very easy for any party to do. You see, what is going on in APC now is well expected, because everybody have different interests. And that is what political party is all about. So what we are having now, we can be able to manage it. We have seen a situation that a lot of Senate presidents will just be changed at will. And this is not happening. We have seen the stability. So this what we should expect in the days to come. But because of the power that be, how some South Seas has been incorporated to the system, you have seen some government now decamping, and there is going to be room for them to be able to nominate some their candidates.
Now, what we have in the APC, Honorable Omolaja, now, is this just a leadership vacuum, or that it's a coordination problem in the APC? The current situation. The current
situation, the coordinator system is well established because we have a president who is the leader of the party, whether you like it or not. And a lot of things is going to come to his table for decision to be made. So now we are having that. I think what APC is now enjoying, Labour Party is not enjoying it, because we have seen a seat-side chairman that wants to do things at wills, and despite the fact that he has been burdened with a lot of financial misappropriation, he still sat there. We can see what is happening in PDP. When they cannot be able to accommodate one of their own, they think he's going to be an outsider. When you are talking about a secretary of the party, it should not be big thing. A secretary of the party it has just one vote. When you are talking about the National Working Committee, I don't think why people are making noise about this. They have their own problem. But I think when you are talking about APC, it is well managed.
Okay, there are insinuations in town. But then let me go back a little bit.
Okay.
As late as 1993, there has been times when the chairman of the political party is supreme to everyone, even if you are the president or the governor or whoever you think you are, even if after you have been elected. But now, the moment you get elected into an office, you suddenly become the boss to the party chairman. And of course, there will be conflict of interest. Afolabi.
My brother, it is what we are experiencing now. What we are experiencing now is what we have experienced in the past. My brother here is talking about in those days where we see a sitting president removing a senator or House of Assembly or removing a chairman of a party at will. But I'm saying that is what is also going on right now. Is it like you just said, the party chairman should be supreme on the party, and then whoever becomes the governor or the president still have a way of submissiveness under the person. You see, that was what the APC campaign about, preach about, where they were at the opposition, that they will maintain a house at which the governor will not be so much powerful than the party.
But they have suddenly become the leaders in their various states. And
they have not that is just it. They said that they have preached that they will maintain a house where the governor will not be so much powerful than the party. The party still dictate the tone of the governor, and coordinate with him, discuss with him, and make him see reasons where some decisions should be made. But right now, that is what we are seeing. I've always said to people that let them get to power, then you know how powerful they are.
Honorable Omolaja, how much influence do state governors wield in party's direction, and is that a threat to national cohesion within the APC as we speak?
Thank you very much. What we are practicing now is just traditional ways of our life. When you are talking about the governor being the supreme...
Are the problems too much of a problem to party leaders?
It is not about that. It is not about that. It is the fundamental way of running our party, that of all the party. That is what is causing the problem. The governor shouldn't even have power more than the state of assembly. But what do you see now? Because the state of assembly has more power than the governor. When you see
he pays their salary.
It is not. That is when it was the law has been made that all the judiciary and the House of Assembly must have financial autonomy. In case of your state, they rejected it, and that is their problem.
Is it happening?
They say they want to be loyal. They say they want to be loyal to the government.
I am just telling you this.
We have seen a case of Lagos State.
This has not sink into their head. When you are talking about the Lagos State, the state of assembly has the power more than the governor. It has more. They have power. That is why.
Now let me cite an instance.
Even when there was a discourse, when there was problem in the house, you have never seen any the state governor making any impact or making any contribution or making any statement.
I don't think
for you to know how powerful it is, and you have seen a situation whereby Sanwo-Olu was left to be sitting down
waiting for the
budget presentation for more than 2-3 hours. It has never happened in any other state.
Now, let me cite an instance. When Obasa was removed as Speaker, Honorable Obasa was removed as Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, he got a replacement.
Yeah.
But eventually, his replacement was removed and Obasa returned.
Yes.
But of course, all through that time, Governor Sanwo-Olu did not make one statement, no public statement.
Of course. For you to know that.
Is that your definition
it is
of the party being supreme? And of course, the House of Assembly
is about the House of Assembly, the supremacy of the House of Assembly. Mind you, they are so adamant in removing Obasa. But you know the power must be, when behind the veil and did it, they make sure they wielded their power.
Some said
for you to know
some
the power
said it's the handiwork of the president.
It is not, even if it's the work of the president or the work of any other person. You see the way these people were so adamant in removing Obasa. They were pleaded upon, they were begged. I am telling you, this is for you to know that it is the first time that the State of Assembly in Nigeria made a statement.
Will you want to convince me here that the removal of Obasa was the willingness of the member of Assembly, not backing up by the governor?
It is not about being backed up by the governor. It's about what they did, and it was overwhelmingly vote that occurred. It was about 5 against probably about 32 or 36. It was the number of the vote. Even if the governor is involved, but
that removal never stand a test of time.
It is not about what I'm saying to you is that when you are talking about the power tussle, even if they are influenced in one way or the other, they made their statement.
Okay,
and they stood by it. And it was when Obasa himself tried as much as possible to remove, to withdraw all the cases from the court. That is when they can be able to return him back.
Now, let me come back to you. What we have in the APC now, should we be expecting conflicting primaries? And of course, parallel congresses in the APC.
You don't need to go too far. We saw what happened in Lagos. The Lagos recent local government primaries is enough to tell us that something else is coming up under the APC party. The truth of the matter is...
Are you saying the primaries in Lagos was not a success?
Was it a success? It's on the open air. It's in record that the APC is not too far away from other parties that we've seen. Yes, why do we are the opposition party? They make a good preaching of what they expect of the party.
You're saying they are better off as opposition party.
Well, if you say so,
and they are still better.
If you say so,
and they are still better.
If you say so that they are better off not to be a leader than becoming an opposition, because at that point they know what they do, and I also think they have the very good thinking to write better.
Honorable Olaoye will disagree with you.
He is the card-carrying member.
It is not about being card-carrying member. It is the fact on the ground. Now, we are basing this on fact.
That you are better at the opposition than becoming a leader.
I am going to tell you this.
Yes.
Now, the inception of APC, we have had how many, chairman of the party? We had, in the potent, we have Ikimi. After Ikimi, we have the Oyegun.
Yeah.
After Oyegun, we have Oshiomhole. After Oshiomhole, we have Abdullahi. After Abdullahi, it was a temporary when we have Ganduje. Now, can you tell me this? What we are talking about? PDP. There was a time they changed a party chairman within 4 years for about 3 or 4 times. For when you are talking about it, to the time that an ESCO supposed to have his own lifespan. Now, apart from that one, we have seen a kind of despite the fact that they are fighting when it's come the primary in Lagos State. Still, people have the same voice, and they went through a process. Whether they are going to be begged, whether they are going to be coerced, even if the gun is pointed on them, they were made to agree to a certain level. I am just telling you this. So when you are talking about the opposition, I think opposition is even doing better more than the
Afolabi, let me ask you this.
I mean the APC is doing better than the opposition.
Now, Afolabi, let me ask you this question. Are internal disagreements in the APC a reflection of ideological differences, or are they purely about personal ambitions and control of the structure in the APC?
I think it is the combination of the two. Because when you talk about the ideology differences, yes, the APC have recently woo in so many members who are not of the original templates of the party ideology, you know, and structure. You can see the Edo State case, where the entire former governor, who was once the vice president candidates of the PDP, the Delta State, came in with all his machineries, even though he was still having his case with EFCC. And some other parties member who are decamping into the party, you know, they want to hold structure at their party. They also want to claim the leaders of that party. Now, what will you say of Okowa and the sitting governor, who is powerful now? Will you say the sitting governor or Okowa? That is just the thing. You see, like you have not yet able to accept that APC is better off as an opposition than as a ruling government.
I
you will disagree, because it has shown at the test of time. The last 8 years of ruling this country, we've seen that. You have led this country for 8 years. We are now in the 10th year, if not more than that.
Combined with that of
combined with the President Buhari, because we cannot remove Buhari out of all this. Yes, if Buhari have made some people a party chairman, but they have been redundant. We've seen so many changes that even the party chairman does not know anything of. And we see the way Amana, Ganduje himself, became the chairman of the party. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his wisdom, will have, I know as at that time, that he will calm down to allow breeze to blow in, so that at the time we tell when you need to make his changes. And the changes is coming right now. Many other party members from other states who wants to clinch in, you know, the party is drawing in many people now. They want many people to come into them. Have not got into the depth or knowledge of the wisdom. So party struggle and internal democracy is going to affect this party, and we're going to see this between this time and the time of the campaign, which is leading us to 2027 election.
Now, Honorable Molaja Olaoye, you have something to say about that, but I want you to put this together.
Okay.
Now, there are insinuations that Ganduje's removal or his resignation from the APC as the chairman now has a lot to do with the fact that some people are intending to come into the APC, but they will not come to the party because they would not want to be in a party where Ganduje is the leader. One of them is Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Is that true?
I never doubted that. When you are talking about politics, it's about give and take. You don't win all. There's no way you can be able to win all. We knew the way Ganduje and Kwankwaso were. Somebody must be slaughtered, whether you like it or not, in order to have the power. Even if it is yourself. In the Bible,
so the APC sacrificed Ganduje.
You see,
they sacrificed Ganduje for other people to come into the party.
For the fact, Ganduje doesn't supposed to be the APC chairman. He was a kind of an unexpected arrangement to just fill the gap, because that position has been so to North Central.
And he's not from North Central. Still come to this political party this way?
When you are talking, yes, it like we expected. I think it's going to be. He's talking about Delta State. I know the policies of Delta State is sitting toward APC, whether you like it or not, because they want to be opposition. They don't want a particular party to be ruling them for a very long time. And mind you, in order for the governor to say his own face, we have seen this man, Senator, what's it called, that married this Nollywood actress. He has decamped, and he has never lost the election. And we have seen Ibori being there, all the powerful element. With this, the governor knew that definitely is going to lose. We are talking about the South. You are talking about Akwa Ibom. The politics of Akwa Ibom is tilting towards the opposition as well. And like the present government we are talking about, they are tired of PDP, whether you like it or not. And this man wants to save his face. You have to talk about survivor. Party can be changed, because party is always there. We have seen what happened in United States of America. We are talking about Trump. He has jumped from one party to the other, from one party to the other. And when you are talking about the supremacy of the chairman, it's not applicable in the US, in the Republican of today. Trump owed all the aces. He controlled the House, he controlled Senate President, he controlled Federal House of Assembly Speaker. He controlled them. Like, he talks to them the way he wanted. And what even anything bad he wants to be done, he is going to tell them a matching order. For you to know how presidents are so powerful. A lot of the senators that even ate in have to be aligned with him because they know by the time they criticize him, they are going to lose the election in their own domain, in their own constituency. So with this, we must know that an internal struggle within APC is not expected, even when the Congress comes. But what I'm hoping for all the party, in order to be sanity in all political party, we must have direct primary.
Afolabi,
without direct primary, there can't be sanity.
Now, Afolabi, let me ask you this question. With the current spate of cross-carpeting into the APC as we speak, are we still going to have people who are going to jump the ship and leave the APC before the election? That is one. Two, with the current situation, there are going to be too many captains in the ship. Will this sink the APC before the election?
Well, the party is going through a test of time. And time will only tell us or answer all these questions you've asked. But I want to tell us that some party member will still leave this party. Yes, I have seen that coming up. Especially when we come to the point of primary. You know, they are like for your state right now, everybody is jockeying for the seats of power to the #1 seat in your state. And I know some party members are of the opinion of the particular person, while some are against. So it will give room for some people to leave. So the same thing is happening in the federal level. You know, like we are seeing many people coming in. Like he has said, politics is about interest. Everybody coming in has a particular thing as an interest. So they want to have something. Like he has said, that the resignation of the Kwankwaso as the chairman was as a way of sacrifice. So as some people will not come, Ganduje, it was a way of sacrifice. So in politics, you sacrifice some people to get some people in, and that is what they are doing. But what I'm trying to say is that when APC was in opposition, their kind of preaching and campaign was a kind of political party that will have internal.
Afolabi, they never campaigned to be a saint.
No.
They have never campaigned to be a saint.
I have never said you are a saint. I have said that you have said that a party that you really want to have is a kind of party that will have a house with good sanity, united in front, and be able to manage their members.
And they are failing to do that.
And they are failing to do that right now. Maybe because they are having more children coming in from outside.
In the inception of APC, it was the opposition party. Probably they pay us back with our own coins. Now, the Senate president we had is more of PDP than APC. During the time of Buhari.
Are you saying it's a PDP?
When you are talking about Bukola Saraki, was there for about 4 years. He was more of PDP than APC.
No, but he was part of the coalition. Was there? You formed the political parties together. Your party saw him before they made him Senate president.
What I'm saying is that people that mostly elected him are of PDP as a Senate president. Do you know?
Akpabio was former PDP governor.
It wasn't about that. It was APC. But the people that elected him as a Senate president in 2015 are PDP because it was like a coup. When you remember, then
are you saying your political party now?
He was always against the president. All the president policy, he was always questioned.
Now let me ask you this question: is your political party having identity crisis as we speak?
We are not talking about that. There is no identity crisis. There is no.
You are saying Senate president are more of PDP than APC.
I was talking about 2015.
Was a PDP governor?
2000,
he came to the APC.
No. We have this one. This one is very loyal. The one is very loyal. But I was telling him when we came in, whatever we campaigned for, when we came in, a lot of things change because what we don't expect comes in.
When you say loyal, what do you mean by loyal for a Senate president? Is it by being rubber stamp?
It is not about rubber stamp. The same thing applicable in the United States as well. What do you expect? Any Senate, even the Speaker is the House of Rep in US are more powerful than the Senate. And I am telling you, Johnson is loyal to Trump. If Trump say jump, he's going to jump. If Trump say sit, he's going to sit. Are you telling me that one is rubber stamp?
And that's democracy.
It is about democracy. But democracy, that is what democracy is all about, whether you like it or not. And for you, if you want to implement any policy, you must make sure you have your house. If you don't have, that is why a lot of majority of people in House of Rep and Senate are Republican. Because people knew in order for Trump to be able to do whatever he wants with his policy, they must get That is why it's total. For now, they have what they have never had in the history of America, whereby Republicans get the majority of the House.
All right, we have to go. Our time is fast spent on the show this morning. Thank you, Afolabi Afolami, for being a part of
Thank
the
you
show.
for having me again here.
All right, Honorable Omolaje Olaoye, there's a conversation that we have not ended. I hope that when next to call you to come and have this discussion,
no problem.
with your holistic judgment, you'll be here to make an appearance.
No problem.
Thank you all for being a part of the show this morning.
Welcome.
The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. Of course, this has been the big story on Dominion Television, your channel of choice where inspiration meets entertainment. Now, if it is politics, let's play politics the way it should be. If it is governance, let there be governance the way it should be. Of course, the conversation continues. You can always drop your comments in our comment section. Don't forget to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It is at Dominion Broadcast. Even on LinkedIn and on X, formerly Twitter, it is that Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on our website on www.dominion.org.ng. Now, this brings us to the segment of the end of this segment this morning. We still have a lot to unpack on this show. Thank you for being a part of the show so far. We'll be back after this time out. And of course, Trend Watch comes after this. We'll be back. Welcome back from that short break. That was the big story on Dominion Television. And of course, we told you that we have a lot to unpack on this show this morning. That takes us to Trend Watch. But of course, you can keep the conversation going by linking up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It is at Dominion Broadcast. On X, at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live, www.dominion.org.ng on our website. Yemi Adelakun is still here with her. We'll be taking you through the world of social media this morning. Of course, we'll be talking about trends.
Oluwayemi Adelakun.
Okay, I should put Olua. Okay. Olua Yemi Adelakun, good morning again.
Of course, I'm not serious about that. I'm just joking. Good morning. Nice to be back here.
Yeah, let's talk about trends on social media. There are quite a number of interesting things. Of
course.
And Onis_Monday one has actually, said so much, and people are reacting.
Of course.
They are reacting.
She said, stop dating women if you can't afford to take care of them. And of course, Adewale Adeleke asked this to say, and he said, only brokies will be triggered by this. As you see by the comment, brokies are triggered with a laughing emoji.
I mean, you see, the point is, I think this is relative, actually.
Okay.
Relationships are built on understanding, they are built on ideologies, they are built on what I think about you and what you think about me. Now, everyone has what they bring to the table, regardless of, it might not be monetary, it might not be gift items, but you are bringing something to the table. I've had, someone who says he just likes when his girlfriend talks to him, and that's what all he needs. The conversation. The conversation they have, because they are always insightful. He picks 1 or 2 points from there. People want to have meaningful conversations. So that is one person. Some people will say he has to be the kind of person that actually, showers me with gift items, and some will say, I just want words of affirmations at all times. Just tell me how much you love me.
There are people like that.
I mean, there are people like that. So it depends on where you belong. And some want it all. I mean,
but there's a saying, you can't have it all. But these days, some persons are, actually, having it all.
Yeah, there are some people who are that complete. They can give you everything you need. But then it can be a little bit dangerous. Because, you might think you have got it all, with that kind of person, and all of a sudden they just make a U-turn. And you are in search of that kind of, you are, looking for a replica of your past relationship in someone else. So that might be, a stumbling block in you getting, someone in that category, and then you begin to screen before you know it. Time don't go.
Okay, speaking on this issue, I feel like it's based on experience. Just like the way I used to say it, people's experiences shape their opinions. This person coming out to say that, okay, if you cannot afford, to date a lady, I mean, look for someone.
Maybe she has actually dated, a number of brookies.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. And of course, Adeleke also coming out to say that, she's absolutely right. It might be based on his experiences as well. But I feel like he's only on Twitter. I see people come out and say, most girls date for money alone. I mean, I have friends, and then when they talk about, this issue of relationship, I want to date you because I like your brain, I like the way you reason, I like you are a problem solver, things like that. It's not just about the money. There should be other parts. I mean, there are people that will tell you that I'm actually, leaving this guy because he does too much for me. He's too nice. Have you seen issues like that before?
Of course, it has happened.
So beyond the money that you can offer, I mean, the brain, are you intelligent? Because I don't know, I think this applies to ladies and guys as well. They'll say, I want to be sure that my children are safe. I mean, I'm interested in your brain. I'm interested in the way you contribute to conversations online.
You're not, born dullards.
You get my point.
Inherit the brains of their dad or maybe of that of their mother.
Exactly.
So, it's quite important, actually. I've seen someone who said, our boyfriend says too much of sorries. So you say sorry too much, and I don't think I can cope, because there has to be a time you have to be tough as a man,
Exactly.
And then the relationship ended. And I just sat in one corner and was like, so he's too nice, and that means
people break up because of that. Some girls and some guys, they like trouble. No, let's just
I want to.
Relationship is so peaceful. There are people like that, and there are people who love their peace so much. So I think people just ignore the red flags.
But there has to be
the signs are always there.
Yeah, there has to be a drop of drama along the line. Something must happen.
But
because if it is too boring, I mean, it cannot be. I'm not saying it should be toxic.
Yes.
Something, there has to be incident, because that is what shapes you for the future. So if you have not gone through a phase, I don't think there is a way you understand, how you are going to react when eventually happens.
Disagreements will definitely happen, in as much as you guys interact.
If it now boils down to someone saying, sorry, at every given opportunity will become. So let's take the comments on this post. Sugar Boy says, every time love,
No, they chop. People
you
have
want
different
job like
concerns.
this.
So
They have
people are
different
looking for
concerns.
food to eat.
People don't care about love anymore. They just want to survive. So
I don't
they
know
are
if you
talking
are
about
saying-
love around people who just want to survive. I mean, you're on a long thing. You are just, as they will say on the street, you are capping.
Yeah, I see some videos on TikTok whereby you go to the restaurants and some persons are all lovey-dovey and one person will just pass and just eat. Really, what are they doing?
What is this? I mean, so also
another comment, from
Tabani Gerald says
Yeah.
that the man is known as Davido's brother. That should tell you everything.
This is another angle entirely. I mean, I'm trying to think about what this person is trying to say. It really,
I really can't
people are
place it.
funny, and I don't want to speculate because which one is
Davido's brother.
People can be funny. So I mean, to actually leave this story, I feel like people should look at the signs before you say you want to date someone. The signs are always there, but you can decide to ignore. If you see this person, maybe from the first, second outing, this person looks like she's going to be you a lot. You have not even started the relationship proper. She's already asking for so much. If you know you won't be able to cope with that.
Just let it go.
And if you know you can cope, Lai recently spoke about the fact that he's not a boyfriend material.
He's
more of a
kind of
sponsor.
guy.
That kind of guy cannot have issues. I mean, so I
you'll
think
be able to press money at all times. Very quickly, let's take this one. Peter Obi is in the news, and of course, talking about the president's vacation to. He says that this is not the time for holidaying. Peter Obi tells President Tinubu over his ongoing official visit and vacation to St. Lucia. I mean, well, I think the president also has every right to say, look, I've done so much, I need some time off. But then, sometimes we tend to either play politics with everything, or then we want to always criticize and say, look, there are things you should have done differently. But then, regardless of this situation, I feel like the president should also, instead of just ignoring opposition party or maybe criticisms, he should always draw the positives from there and see how they can actually, going forward, be able to put it to good use. But
the president is actually debunked this, saying that, that visit is not, for a vacation or maybe just, to relax and chill. It's strictly official. And that's according to Bayo Onanuga. So we want to believe that, he has gone there for that same reason, So really, and then some persons have this to say that, looking at the population of our country, because, one of the things that, Bayo Onanuga mentioned is the fact that Nigeria is trying to build, strong ties, with St. Lucia. And some persons are saying, looking at the population, these people are not really much. I mean, you cannot even compare their population. But is it really about population? It's not really about the numbers.
If they have what Nigeria actually needs. I don't think a country or a colony is too small to have a relationship with other countries. If they have a deposit of things Nigeria would need, why not?
I mean, Yorubas will say it's not about the number of children, it's about what they are capable of.
Of course.
May translated. In fact,
Yoruba will say if it is just two,
let's
you can
not
actually if it is just two and you will be able to bite your corn that well, then so be it.
So it depends on the presidency.
Well, that rests on the president to actually, make the changes and of course listen to some people who criticize him sometimes, not negative criticisms, I mean constructive ones. So if there are
allowed.
things,
it's a democratic system.
This is and that's why we have opposition parties. Exactly. This is their job. So constructively, you tell the president, look, what you are doing is wrong, but I think you can do it this way. Not that you will always see the problem and not the solution. So I think that is how
it.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Let's take.
Well, I think we have to go. Our time is fast spent on the show this morning.
Any comment on that?
We have to go. Today is Monday, and it's Monday, so the week has just started. So, what's the look about?
I really wanted to say something, but I'd rather keep it after the show.
Just keep it.
Thank you.
All right, all right. Each morning we are born again, and what we do today is what matters most. That's coming from someone who really has you in mind this morning. So today is Monday. You are set out to actually do exploit, and of course, keep trying until you get it right. And of course, this week is so long that success is just around the corner. Samson Balogun is my name. Until tomorrow, we shall be meeting again on another fresh edition of Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. I say keep being good, keep being safe out there. Samson Balogun is my name. Bye for now.
All right, thank you for being a part of the show. And before I go, I want to tell you, please dream big, because at the end of the day, the dream is yours. Be intentional about the things that you want to do with your life, and you see how it will play out at the end of the day. My name is Oluwayemi Adela, and I'm saying good morning and bye for now.